Hey, it's Chris from the Content Marketing Academy here, and I've got a fantastic question for you today. This was asked yesterday by Ali, and he basically said, Chris, how do you structure your blog articles? So there's a couple of big things in here that we need to cover, and I'm going to try and keep it as quick as I can. As you can see, I'm not in the office today, I'm at home, but I want to keep this Q&A going, and I kind of want to try and do one every day if I can. So thanks very much for your question, Ali. And yeah, so how do you structure a blog article? How do we do it? How do I do it? In general, I try to keep it quite logical. But there's two things to consider. You have to create blog articles that not only people will be able to read easily, but you also have to create blog articles that Google will also love or search as well. So you've got to kind of hit two big parts here. So firstly, how do you create an article that people will like to read? So Ali, I think you mentioned that you were worried a little bit about the length of your articles and that the ones you were writing were quite short. I'm going to cover that particular question, what length should your articles be, and how to create a good longer form article in a separate question, because I think it's separate from this. Structuring the articles for something like for people, right? So if we talk about that first, I think that'd be a good thing. So there's not just structure for people, but also things like the size of the font, the colour of the background, generally trying to keep it quite easy to read. So from a design perspective, keep it quite easy to read. So you kind of want to have like a white background, black font, and make sure that your headings and subheads and bullet lists and numbered lists are quite clear, and the font's quite spaced out as well. Just simple stuff like a 12-point font on a website looks really small and difficult to read. So just make it really easy to read. So that's a sort of general point. But sort of more specifically, you do want to have a nice headline, an image that kind of like really brings the article to life. But you've got to think mobile as well. So big headlines, big subheads. So for someone that's skim reading an article, which is a lot of things, like for example, a lot of the articles I read, I do skim read, and I'll go on my mobile and I'll be skimming it like this, or on my MacBook as well. I'll skim it. And what I'm looking for is the subheads. I'll look at the subheads and the bullet lists probably more than anything, and that allows me to skim really quickly and get a really good feel for the article. And if I think it's going to be of value, I'll dig deep and I'll read the whole thing. But the first thing I do is skim, and a lot of people do that. So you kind of have to write an article for skim readers too, as well as the people that want to read in depth. So so I tried to, one of the things I learned was talk to people like they're 6 years old. So basically try and keep it simple, short paragraphs, even short sentences, simple words, lots of subheads, lists, and generally just making it really short, snappy and easy to read. And I think that's how I would structure an article for people, is kind of to try and make it just broken down and make it easy to consume. On the actual structure though as well, and trying to keep it logical, I guess, is to have a nice opening paragraph that kind of explains what it is, kind of sets it up. So if it's a question you're answering, for example, this is a question that I'm answering as well. If I was to do this in a blog article, I would say, so how to structure a blog article, I'd start off the article by saying, one of the most popular questions we get asked is how to structure a blog article, and then go on to kind of explain maybe what the problem is. So a lot of people ask it, it's a valid question to be asked, and maybe just kind of like highlight some of the problems with it as well. Like a lot of people feel like they can't write or they don't know what to do, and just recognise the little bit of empathy in there too, and just kind of like set it up basically. And I might say like maybe the article has 10 tips on how to structure or 10 things you need to do to structure an effective blog article. So that would be the body of it, the 10 tips, and they would all be subheads in each one of them, and then explain them in short paragraphs. So someone skimming it could actually see the 10 things that they need to do or to consider when writing a blog article. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like try to structure it in a logical way. Finish off with some concluding remarks to kind of set them off with some motivation or inspiration, and then at the bottom of your article you can do something like a call to action. So I would put we always use your turn in our articles where we feel it's appropriate. but the call to action we typically use is your turn. And we'll ask maybe 3 questions, what challenges do you have currently with writing blog articles? What else would you add to this list to help other people structure their blog articles? Let us know by joining the conversation in the comment section below. And try to start a conversation. We're not trying to sell, we're trying to help and educate. And that's how we would structure an article for people. But then you have to consider, well, how will Google know that this article is what this article is all about? So you kind of have to think about the main factors that Google would take into consideration as well. And I've kind of highlighted a few of them already. Google will look at the URL, and at top level it'll be looking at the URL, the headline, the opening paragraphs and the subheadings. Okay, so it'll put extra weight on all of those. So if it's a new article you're publishing, try and make sure that the keyword and the keyword phrases are in all of those areas, and you're sort of peppering that throughout your article. So if you want people to love your article, I would say first of all, write for people. Definitely write for people first, and then you have to think about search and how Google will know what that article is all about. So how to structure an effective blog article for business blogging. That's exactly how you would do it. Think people, think search, and how you can tick both of those boxes. Think about the skim readers. Think about keeping it simple and well structured and logical. Tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them, and just keep it quite structured like that. Use the subheadings and the short paragraphs and short sentences, bullet lists, big font, and keep it nice and clean and simple. And I think that will help a lot. And that's really, it's not complicated. I think it's just about also being conscious of what's good for you when you're reading articles online as well. So kind of think, when you're reading blog articles, be conscious about the sort of experience that you're having online as well. And I think that'll help you a lot. If you've got any questions about anything, please drop into the comments section, wherever this video happens to be. And I'll pop a few articles also into the description section that'll help you with structuring your blog articles for search engines, and also to structure your articles to make sure that people love them too. Hope that's been helpful. Thanks very much for the question. And also, if you've got any questions, please tweet me at chrismar101 or email me chris@chrismar.co.uk, and I hope that you're having an awesome day. Don't forget to be awesome.